but a cool somebody.
Good morning, Andy. How you doing today? Week 2 NFL. Somebody's undefeated, somebody's not. I'm not going to point any fingers or, try to get any accolades for being the undefeated one. I'm not going to say it's me. I'm just going to let the audience figure out which team the Bucs are undefeated and which team hasn't won a game. The Bears haven't won a game yet. It looks like it's just you and I today.
I'm not really picking up what you're putting down. I'm not really seeing where you're going with your statements.
Well, we can get rid of this Crüe background and just go into the.
Is at the end of the day, when it gets right down to it. Oh, there you go.
You're freezing.
Baker Mayfield is your quarterback.
That he is.
You're freezing on me.
That's because it's in Indiana and I'm cold up here. But anyway,
well,
we got the power hour.
It is what it is.
Bucs Bears. Good old visit of the NFC Central. Not like it used to be. It's almost like the tables have turned because the Bucs have a stellar defense and the Bears seem to be looking to find some footing on where to push their direction or identity of their team. You got a good young good young athlete at quarterback. I wouldn't say he's a good young quarterback just yet. But Justin Fields is, like I said last week, that's your issue with being a Bears fan is they have no real identity on offense. They put weapons around him, but they didn't put really the best of line in front of him just yet.
So the interesting thing about that is I, to a point, sort of kind of agree. I can't agree completely because you're a Bucs fan. So if you were to tell me, for example, the sky is blue, I don't think that's accurate. But with the idea of not having necessarily an identity, I guess there's validity to that statement. You knew what you got with the Bears 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. You had a running game. Oh, yeah, you could throw it downfield every now and again, but you had a defense. And even your special teams were solid. In this particular iteration of the Bears, because of the fact you have a more athletic quarterback, I think they're looking to possibly go a little bit further downfield, kind of pun intended. The problem is the offensive line. Now, this is supposed to be the revamped offensive line that, of course, they spent millions and millions and trillions and gazillions of dollars on. And at this point, it hasn't quite. Yeah. There was literally still shots. And I think you've seen them also, where you actually have, the Bears, like all 5 of the offensive linemen are like looking back at Justin Fields, basically like an move your ass block kind of a deal, because of the fact
that's a good old lookout block.
And it's just, it's depressing. Then of course, with the idea of Justin Fields actually coming through and saying, some of our perimeter blocking has not been where it could or should be. In particular, he may have been talking about Claypool, but it's just certainly one of those things where the Bears need to be able to do what they're going to be doing a little bit more efficiently, a little bit better.
Yeah. I had high hopes living in Chicagoland. I had high hopes for Claypool coming to the Bears. I thought he would help at least solidify that passing attack, but really he's earned himself a second string job. I mean, he doesn't seem to be doing the little things other than walking onto the field. He's just there. You know what I mean? He's not really explosive. He's not really standing out in anywhere on the field right now.
Right. So I did watch a little vignette over the weekend or over the past week, and essentially it was talking about how Claypool, competitive player, almost tends to be, or at least he seems to be one of those type of players that as you said, he kind of just shows up and does his thing. And you've had players in the past that have actually done that to where, they think that their athleticism is going to take them through through Sunday without necessarily preparing like you might have like a Jerry Rice, for example, who was an absolute monster in his preparation. So it just happens to be one of those things. Now, with that is that'll take you just so far.
Well, Jerry Rice was just an anomaly. Let's just start there. But I don't even need Clay. You don't, as a Bears fan, you don't even need Claypool to beat Jerry Rice. You need him to be someone like, I don't know, Machine Muhammad, someone that's just good enough to get you through the game. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to be awesome. He just got to be there on the stat sheet.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Now, the other problem is very simply because of the Bears' offense, the way it is actually set up, you have a lot of that, again, perimeter blocking. And so, you don't block, you don't get the rock, that kind of deal. A lot of that's predicated on their wide receivers and even are always going to be blocking for those small little smoke screens and things like that, where you have an opportunity to be able to actually gain yards after catch. Everybody loves that whole yak.
Yeah, we don't know what that is in Tampa with Mike Evans, but keep going.
That is true. But as long as your wide receivers are actually blocking downfield like they're supposed to, you could conceivably get 5, 6, 8, 10 yards or more.
Right.
You break one tackle. Hopefully you're in the secondary. You're in the secondary, so then you're getting 20 yards plus. Yeah,
but that's why they don't let them throw to linemen, is because they're not skilled players. You understand that? I mean, you can put them.
Well, to a point, they may not be skilled, but they are the most intelligent players on the field.
I'm being serious. You can't. I'm just saying the Bears need something. They put all that money into the offensive line this year. Didn't really do much. What's Nate Davis doing? Is he playing this week? He's personal.
I heard he was out for personal reasons, whichever the case might be. Which of course would bring up Ja'Tyre Carter. Which is actually he's number 2 on the old depth chart. So I guess that's a strong possibility. Other than that, everybody else is healthy.
Yeah, you good. I mean, you just put Kyle Gordon on IR, but defensive back. Your offensive line, like I said, Nate Davis is your only player that's out. But I got to tell you, when I read an interior offensive lineman is out and you're going against a guy like Vita Vea, that dude is going to eat today. He's going to wreak havoc in that backfield.
It's possible.
I mean,
it's possible.
You're gonna see the Bears offense once again be Justin Fields rolling out and trying to do it with his legs, which I think plays right into the Bears' hand. Really, that's better for the Bears because you got a defensive end or edge rusher like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka who only has one speed and doesn't know how to hit the brakes, overruns the ball all day. When you got a quarterback like Justin Fields, that leaves the field open. You know what I mean? So I really think Justin Fields might be the Bears' ground game today. Can you hear me?
There is a strong possibility that. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. You were just froze for a second, I thought. Awesome. I think you're just messing with me, but anyway, I'll keep going. Justin Fields, like I said.
So, I mean, there is always a possibility that the Bears.
Yeah, you're breaking
there's a possibility that the Bears' offensive line.
You good? All right. So I'm going to keep going. Andy's having some technical difficulties. But like I said, I really see Justin Fields being the Bears' ground attack today. With Joe Tryon-Shoyinka coming off the edge and Shaq Barrett, that's going to leave one side of the field to where Justin Fields is going to be able to roll out and make some positive plays with his legs. Well, I'll go into the injury report real quick for you. We got Carlton Davis out for the Bucs with a toe issue. Kalijah Cansey is out with the Bucs with a calf injury. Savachier Dennis is out again with a hamstring injury. And we got Christian Izien, who's the undrafted free agent nickelback for the Bucs. He's in concussion protocol, but is doubtful or is questionable to play. The Bears, like I said, have Josh Blackwell, who's doubtful with a hamstring injury. Nate Davis was listed as personal, but I'm not sure if he's out or not. But what sucks with the Bears is they just put Kyler Gordon on the IR. And with him being on the IR, you're going to your third nickelback, going against the wide receiver core of Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Trey Palmer, or Jared Tompkins, or any one of the other burners that the Bucs can put in at the slot, going against a third string nickelback. That might be a matchup to watch. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, fortunately, with that wide receiving core, I guess you can say easy. So I mean, you and I could probably actually, defend them. Me in particular, being the superior athlete. But for some reason, Josh Blackwell, of course, he being out, and Nate Davis, from what I remember reading and hearing, he's going to be out for personal reasons. Tragically, it is what it is. You understand that there are things that come up. It's just unfortunate because this would have been, and it still probably is, but it would have been such an easy victory. But but the Bears, very simply, you have an offensive line. We'll get back to the offensive line because unfortunately I wasn't able to finish that. So there is a possibility that the Bears' offensive line has really actually been challenged. Maybe, I'm not saying that's nefarious, whatever the case is. But you remember hearing all of the old, hey, Michael Jordan, when he left to play baseball, it was because the NBA suspended him for off. Maybe that's what this is. Is it? Absolutely not. But that's where conspiracy theories come in. But the Bears, I think, have been, they challenge their offensive line, be like, okay, guys, this is, you have an opportunity to actually do good things. If you don't do good things, we're going to get those things done anyway, with or without you.
Yeah. I don't know if they're getting it done, but they're going to have to figure something out because, like I said, they're going against a pretty stout front seven with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Vita Vea anchoring that down. I mean, you got probably the best linebacker duo in the league, if not the best, definitely top three with Vita Vea, or not with Levante David and Devin White. You throw Shaq Barrett in on the outside, that's pretty solid. JTS, like I said, is unproven.
It's funny.
Go ahead. Keith Robbins asked the question, what happened to Claypool?
As far as injury wise, we don't know. But
I mean, he just doesn't seem to be there for the Bears. He doesn't seem like he wants to be there. I mean,
well, not that he doesn't want to be there. He, unfortunately, this has actually been the knock ever since he was in Pittsburgh, is the fact that he basically does not necessarily. He doesn't prepare like he should, like a professional should. And right. I don't know if he's just aloof, whatever the case might be, but I don't know if you recall in Pittsburgh that he and one of the other wide receivers, I forget his name, were starting to do like TikToks and things like that.
Yeah, Juju Schuster.
Yeah, there you go. And so the idea was, well, you're a professional athlete doing TikToks or doing social media. Now all of a sudden you're doing social media as a professional athlete. That doesn't really work. But the way that for example, you make it sound, the greatest wide receivers, the greatest linebackers, they should be 17-0 at this point right here, the Bucs. But let's be honest, there's two things. Number one, they're not good. Number two, Baker Mayfield.
Hey, so, Baker might not have shown up like you would want him to on the stat sheet last week. I mean, he didn't have an overwhelming day, nothing that would awe you with his passing numbers. But what he did was he showed a lot of heart, and he took that team on his back. And when the fourth down was on the line and we needed to keep possession of the ball, you saw him. He got angry run this week. I don't know if you saw that on NFL Network. Quarterback, I think Josh Allen did it like 2 years ago or last year, but Baker Mayfield seriously just willed that team to victory last week with that last not even pass to Godwin as well.
It's such an inspiring story. It's like Rudy, just a whole lot suckier.
Come on.
Baker Mayfield's actually kind of an interesting story because his arm is above average, his decision making is slightly above average, his athleticism is slightly above average. I mean, he really has all the tools to be actually above average Kirk Cousins. And for some reason, it just hasn't necessarily just meshed. It's always it's always kind of like one of these kind of things. And hopefully that'll continue for this week, and maybe he'll do better next week where it finally kind of sort of meshes. But that could be a couple of things too. That could be the offense. Maybe he's just in an offense that doesn't suit his traits. Maybe not having necessarily the all the reps with all the first teamers over the past year and a half, 2 years or whatever. You don't necessarily know what they can and cannot do, whatever the case is.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, or like you just made a good point, is the fact that Bucs went into training camp with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask competing for a starting position. So Baker wasn't getting all those number one reps with the first team offense. You had Trask taking a lot of those. Why? I don't know, because I honestly think their mind was made up before the season started or before training camp even started. But those are reps he didn't get. So as the season goes on, I think you're going to see Baker and that chemistry with the wide receivers improve and improve and improve. This week, I don't want to say it's a trap game, but it really gets to feel that way because you might be looking ahead to the Vikings or to the Eagles for the Bucs, and that scares me because the Bears are a team that can't beat the Buccaneers this week.
So if the Bears are removing head from Orify, they could kind of sort of give any team in the NFL a run for their money. But you also have a defense that is, at this point, suspect at best. Your secondary, of course, is now just all kinds of in shambles. Your linebacking core, although okay, is not better than okay. Your defensive front, you're looking at, let's see, Justin Jones, Andrew Billings. Okay, they're decent players. Are they spectacular players? No.
I was laughing at Jerry's comment saying that Stout claims that Baker was a top 10 quarterback from last week. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, from last week?
Yeah.
We should probably do that. Who's the top 10 quarter, for each week.
That might be a good segment when people don't show up like they're supposed to. Not saying we're carrying this thing or nothing, but anyway.
But I think there's a strong possibility that Justin Fields is going to want to be able to go downfield, is what he basically been saying all week. He promised I'm going to be going downfield a little bit further. The problem is, again, the offensive line. When you don't necessarily have that time to get your second and third reads, I will admit, Justin Fields does still have a little bit to work on for his progressions, and even for his speed up progressions. Oh, that one's not there. I'm running. No. You're going to end up hurt on the sideline.
Yeah.
You can move around, you can scramble, you can do what you got to do, but look for your second, look for your thirds, that kind of thing. So,
all right. Well, let me ask you this: what are your keys to a Bears victory this week? What do you feel they need to do and do well, even or avoid doing?
Number one would be protection. Because it always starts up front. So if you're going to pass the ball, you're going to run the ball. What is your very, very first line of offense? And that would of course be the offensive line. So if last week for some reason, they started out well, but it's almost like they towards the second, third quarters in particular, it's like they were running in mud. I don't necessarily think that being in shape is an issue, but for some reason they just couldn't get their feet working. So as long as their offensive line is actually doing what they're supposed to do, everything. Your running game, your passing game is going to be exponentially better.
Right on. So who do you have any more keys of the game, or do you think that's pretty much where it begins and ends for the Bears, is controlling that offensive line and letting Fields actually try to learn how to read read a defense?
So there's really two things I've been reading, and of course, one being the wide receivers. So I think there's a strong possibility that Claypool might have been talked to, and so essentially, hey, you got to block. This particular scheme, our particular offensive scheme, is predicated on you actually blocking downfield for your fellow wide receivers, and vice versa. If you actually can streak down the field and be able to find a small little opening that you can possibly get the ball, fantastic. That's kind of what you're here for.
Right.
But this offense is always going to be, so that's why you have Cole Kmet and others like that who are actually blocking, and then they kind of break off and actually get a nice little touch on the ball. Fantastic. So I think Claypool and the wide receiving core is going to be something to keep your eye on majorly. The secondary in particular, because you have people on injured reserve these days. So Eddie Jackson, Brisker's actually starting to kind of come along a little bit better. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, of course, is going to be out. So I don't know. I think number one would be line. Number two would probably end up being secondary, with a 2A being the wide receivers.
Right. Kyle says the Bears' second half adjustments have to be better today. And
yes,
I can honestly say I didn't see any adjustments last week. On the flip side of that, the Bucs would have lost that game without the second half adjustments that they made. So two opposite sides of the coins there.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. So, if by chance you're playing defense and you've actually been pitching a shutout that first half, they're going to make adjustments. Let's say, for example, you're coming in on a late blitz, whatever. So they're going to be able to take that away. So they're going to be making just a few, maybe 3 or 4 major adjustments that's going to hopefully switch the game around. And you're going to probably do the same. But what if, let's say their adjustments are different than what you expected? Do you stay with the same defense, or you go with the adjustments that you have?
Well, it's much like playing defensive line. You've always got to have that counter to the counter, right? You shouldn't come into a game with 2 moves. You got your punch, you got your counter punch, and you got to counter the counter. So yeah, it just depends on what's going on in the game. I always say good coaches see the adjustments that need to be made. Good coaches make the adjustments. Great coaches make the adjustment to the adjustments. And that's the difference in winning and losing a lot of times in close games, or in games where you feel like you don't have a chance and your team keeps you close, and the coaches actually come through and make those adjustments that make the difference in the game. Todd Bowles has never really been known for making the adjustments. You know what I mean? Being a Bucs fan, we're used to seeing Todd Bowles' defenses, I'm coming after you. And that's it. But in the Super Bowl, when the Bucs won the Super Bowl decades ago, it feels like, he did make those adjustments. He did stop with the blitzing and make the adjustments necessary to win that game. But anyway,
completely different personnel, though. That skill set was for those particular type of players.
100%. But so you got Claypool blocking downfield as one of your keys to a game, or wide receivers is the keys to the game. Who are your key players you want to watch today? Who do you think makes an immediate impact on the game today, other than Justin Fields?
Well, I'm definitely going to think either. You got 2 players in particular. So I think Herbert's going to probably make a little bit more of an effort, or at least the effort's going to be there for him to actually be a little bit more part of the offense, and DJ Moore. So
yes.
DJ Moore has that opportunity to be able to actually, because his route running is actually excellent. I would probably give it like a 9 out of 10. There are certain times his effort is. But if you have the opportunity to get that offensive line to give any sort of protection, DJ Moore would have the opportunity to get the ball.
100%.
Because if you actually notice with Justin Fields, some of his accuracy has been improved. Now the problem is he still tends to actually throw off his back foot, so that ball sails. It does all kinds of weird things. So once you actually eliminate that, for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to overthrow a receiver like DJ Moore. That man can flat out fly. He has the Bucs number. I mean, if he doesn't take his helmet off, Bucs lose that game last year and miss the playoffs and lose the division. I mean, one play pretty much helped the Bucs, I would say, and I'm sure it's stuck in DJ Moore's craw all year long. But he's had the Bucs number, and now the Bucs are out their number 1 shutdown corner in Carlton Davis. So we're going to have a young buck stepping in. Zion McCollum made some great plays on special teams, but special teams aren't, every snap. They aren't. I'm isolated one-on-one and have to make this play against that dude right there. You know what I mean? It's a big spotlight, especially being the home opener. So yeah, DJ Moore is one of the players I have picked to watch for the Bears today. So I'm with you 100% there.
So in the other thing, of course, again with offensive line, I don't necessarily know if switching out positions, for example, you of course have Nate Davis is, of course, he's going to be out for the game, so Carter's going to be coming in. Lucas Patrick, of course, is still at center. Cody Whitehair is kind of interesting because obviously he's a relatively effective offensive lineman, but for some reason he's always seemed a little bit on the lighter side to me. Because if you've got somebody who's bum rushing, take like a Vita Vea who's well over 300 pounds. Well, the problem is Cody Whitehair isn't.
Yeah.
So, you can be as strong as you want to be, but sometimes it just gets to that point. You can push a Mack truck, but eventually when they give it a little bit of gas, you're going to get run over. And that's exactly what ends up happening.
But you're not going to block Vita Vea one person. It's not going to happen.
It depends on the play. It depends on the play. Sometimes it's maybe it's just a simple screen. Hey, go ahead, let him through. Because we're about to get 25 yards on the screen.
And you know what? The Bucs defense has struggled with the screen in the past, so that's a great play to watch for. Ben Cornett, he hosts the Ben Zone on Facebook and YouTube as well. He has a couple other shows, but his belief is whoever wins the run game, controls the time of possession, and the defense can cause the most turnovers can win the game. And that sounds like basic football 101, but it's a valid comment in the fact that neither one of these offenses are high scoring at this point in the season. Neither one of these are high scoring offenses in the season. And if the Bears actually can run the ball against the Bucs, that's imposing their will because you're taking the Bucs' strength away from them, right? I mean, that's what they're known for. They're one of the best run defenses in the league, and you break that down, especially at home, and you take that momentum away from them, it could be a long day for the Bucs.
If you can eliminate the 3 and outs, on my perspective, of course, for the Bears, if you can actually eliminate those 3 and outs, which tend to come in chunks, so you're going to drive the ball 65 yards, get to the 1 yard line, and then do something stupid. I don't want to talk about that part, but the very next series, you're going to come out 3 and out. Oh, okay, we'll get them next time. And then the very next series, 3 and out, and then 3 and out, and then 3 and out. So as long as you can actually, and it happens. These are professional athletes. This is what their job is. So you can't come out and actually push everybody all over the field because I don't know if you see some of these scores in even college football where you had teams scoring 14,000 points before half. A couple of Texas high school teams were like 90 plus.
No,
literally, it's insane. So that's obviously, not going to happen. But as long as you can actually, let's say you have 10 3 and outs, how about you bring that back to maybe 7? How about you do 6?
Yeah.
That gives your defense a chance to rest, and that gives your offense time to score.
Yeah, 3 and outs turned it from a football game to an act of attrition. You know what I mean? You're forcing your defense to, be on the field, 70, 80% of the time. And then you're not winning field position. You know what I mean? You're not winning that battle either. So your defense is dog tired. And when you got an offense that's going to try to impose their will on you, it's going to be tough.
Yep.
So we spent a half hour on that team that thought they'd steal the Bucs jerseys and go with the orange for some reason because they think they're cool, but they're not. So we're going to spend a little time on, the team that's going to win today. From the old show. That was the Tides of War podcast that we did last year briefly. But anyway, so we go into Raymond James Stadium. The Bucs, like I said, have a couple injuries. Elijah Cansey is someone I wanted to see play so badly because I think he brings a new element to the Bucs defense with his get off and his speed on the ball. But right now I'm thinking just keep him out. Let him get healthy. Let him get I don't want to stun his career too early. Servace Dennis is out. Carlton Davis is killing us right now, but you can never count on him to finish the season. I don't think he's finished a full season since he's been with the Bucs, and he's definitely a top talent. He's held quarterbacks to below 75 QBR. Coming into this week, he played well against Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson still got his numbers. Kirk Cousins got his numbers. Like I said, Kirk Cousins is the best regular season quarterback. I told you that last week, and you guys like, how can you say he's the best regular season quarterback and still pick him to lose? Because there you go. But anyway, so Bucs are undefeated. You go into today. Both teams are fairly healthy. Both have some key position injuries. But the big one right now, I think, for both teams is both teams have second-string defensive backs in, and for the Bears, it's a third-string defensive back. My keys to victory for the Bucs are pretty simple. You got to stay committed to the ground game. Like Ben was saying, you got to control time of possession. You got to, force their defense to stay on the field a little longer and take that win from them. Go ahead. Sure.
Hate to backtrack real quick, but one of the things I forgot to mention, of course, was Aviante Collins was actually elevated from the Bears practice squad to the active roster, and of course, Nate Davis, it says, has actually been demoted. So I don't know if that's just necessarily for the week, whatever the case is, but that's what it basically just said. So,
wow, they dropped him down off the 53.
And says, yep, and downgraded right guard Nate Davis and quarterback Josh Blackwell, 2 out on the injury report. So
right on. Well, I mean,
yeah, and you know what? It's funny because if you actually look at the Bears and the Bucs, you have a lot of similarities there. You have a quarterback who does have they have the tools, but for some reason, it's just nothing is overly clicking. When in Tampa, for example, you got your wide receivers, Evans and Godwin and all these other guys. But your offensive line, unfortunately, with your offensive lineman going down, your all pro, all everything offensive lineman going down for the season, and probably for a career, you have it almost looks like the Southern edition of the Bears.
You know what? And I'm glad you brought up Jensen being out and Haynes sliding into the court or in the center position, the anchor of the offensive line, in my opinion. Not that he's the best offensive lineman that they have, but he's the one that starts everything off. He's got to make the reads, got to make the calls. Luckily, he played last year. He played he played the entire season last year, except for a couple games where he was injured or a couple of plays where he was out. But what scares me about him is his snaps from the shotgun. He's not very accurate. His ball doesn't have a lot of velocity from the shotgun snap. But in the Bucs offense, they're going to be in the shotgun a lot. So that's something to look at today, something to watch for today, is to see how Baker Mayfield is having to save those snaps, seeing how he's having to make extra plays. Just getting the play started. You know what I mean? When you're going down to field the ground ball from the quarterback position, you take your eyes off the people coming at you. So that's one of my keys is the snap.
Right.
They got to keep Baker upright as well. And that's, again, Ryan Jensen being out. You've basically got a whole new offensive line. Tristan Wirfs, he's all pro, right tackle has been moved to left tackle. Had a stellar game last week. As long as they keep Baker upright, I think we have time that we can actually do some things downfield, especially against, like I said, the Bears secondary being down to their third string nickelback. That also leads me to my next key is to get Mike Evans involved early. You waited 2.5 quarters to get Mike into the game. I don't think that's something you're going to see this week. You got to get Mike Evans going early so you can exploit, your third corner, your nickel corner, whatever you want to call him. The Bears are going to be a nickel a lot today because there's no reason not to be, especially going against a team with receivers like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Trey Palmer, Jared Tompkins. They've made their points. Go ahead.
2 questions for you. So first off is, do you think that the whole Mike Evans not really, was that kind of a punishment thing? For all the stuff coming through, hey, you know what? If we don't get this deal done by this time, then that's it. Then we're not gonna talk about it at all. But sometimes, you have certain things that come out on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah. No. I just don't think it was there. I don't think they were ready. I think they abandoned the run too fast. They couldn't let plays develop. They kept Baker in the pocket. They didn't run the hurry-up offense till it was hurry-up time. Once they hit that hurry-up offense, you saw them being able to dissect the Vikings secondary and see the holes in the zones that the Vikings were running. But, yeah, no, I don't think it was a punishment at all. I just think they need to, make the adjustments earlier, get him involved early. Like I said, you get Evans involved, you're going to see them key towards Evans. Get Godwin involved. They're going to start looking at Godwin, and then you got Trey Palmer streaking down the middle of the field, or you got Kate Otten running a tight end seam, which is one of the hardest plays to cover in the NFL because you've got to make a decision. Am I putting a strong safety on him or a safety on a tight end that's 6'4", 6'5", and your safety's what, 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", 6 foot best? Or you got a linebacker running with a tight end that runs like a 4'4", 4'3", and there's not many linebackers in the league that run like Levante David and Devin White. So you got that advantage as well. So get Evans involved early so you can spread the ball out, more quickly.
Mm-hmm. So second question. This is about overall offense and quarterback play. So are there really any changes from the offensive scheme when Tom Brady was there to where Baker Mayfield is there?
Oh yeah. The whole blocking scheme has changed. Being an offensive lineman yourself, you know there's a difference between run blocking and zone run blocking, right? You let the running back find the gap, find the alley, and then your line blocks from there. Your initial step, your initial impact, great. But once that alley hits, that opens blocking up for everything. It's more second level blocking that's changed.
Sure, but overall, I mean, you're talking verbiage. You're talking about downfield play, things like that. Is everything?
Oh no, it's all different. Completely different. Oh yeah, completely different. Dave Canales brought basically the Seattle Seahawks offense, where you're running the ball first and foremost. But last week they just couldn't do it. They couldn't run the ball.
Sure. Well, that actually was all predicated really on this question. Very simply, is one of the things that made Tom Brady so successful, of course, is even in New England and stuff. Really, he wasn't necessarily throwing to a person; he was throwing to a window, an area.
Right. Tom Brady was successful before he got to the Bucs.
Well, yeah, I think he might have had. I think he had a couple of good games. What I've heard,
I
not
didn't know
necessarily against the Giants, but
played somewhere before he got to Tampa. I never heard.
That's what I've heard.
Oh yeah, no.
But I don't know if that was necessarily the way that things were actually run there in Tampa. Was if he was actually throwing to a particular window, a section, and of course the receivers at that point, having played with him for a year or two, but they knew where to be. And where is that in the line progression of Baker Mayfield? Because he seems to be at times trying to actually hit them an area, and then at times he's like, okay, I'm gonna chuck it at this guy, and you see unfortunately the results.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. When you look at the Bucs offense with Bruce Arians, you had no risk it, no biscuit. You drop back, you sling the rock. You got 50-50 ball receivers. Mike Evans is one of the best 50-50 ball receivers in the league. You had Scotty Miller that could take the top off of defense. So you had that option where you're, just – that's why Winston had 30 interceptions, because the whole key of that offense was just drop back and sling it. Brady was smarter. Brady could drop back and sling it, but he could make the reads and see where the defense was going, where they were going to be. And he had chemistry with Evans and Godwin because it matured throughout the season. They got the reps illegally during COVID. They went to the park and practiced. Baker Mayfield, like I said, missed out on a lot of those snaps early in the training camp because they were in a quarterback competition. So you don't have that maturity. You don't have that gelling, of wide receiver quarterback. So no, I don't think it's that he's throwing to a person or he's just slinging it out there. I think they're just taking time to gel. And once they get that chemistry down, you're going to see a totally different aerial attack from the Buccaneers. Mike Evans is a 50-50 ball receiver. So you're going to take those shots. You're going to take those chances. It happens. I mean, if you have DeAndre Hopkins on a corner that's, 5'9", 6 foot at best, DeAndre Hopkins can jump up to 11 and a half feet in the air. So you're going to throw the 50-50 ball. That's what makes him a good receiver. And that's the same situation with Mike Evans. He's a good receiver because he can get the 50-50 ball. And that leads you back to like college football style play of Baker Mayfield, where he was just slinging it. And that's not what the Bucs really need. They need the quarterback to protect the ball, which, again, leads me to my third key to the game is the Bucs have to win the turnover differential by at least 3. You've got to protect the ball and take it away. You get 3 turnovers, you should win this game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Force Fields to beat you. Force him to beat you through the air. You've got to contain him. You got to keep him, within that pocket and make him make decisions. Because from what I see, Justin Fields is illiterate. He can't read a defense whatsoever. He's 1-2 go, 1-2 go, 1-2 go. Force him to that third read. You know what I mean?
I think unfortunately that's actually one of the reasons why the offensive linemen were actually brought in and were this, that, the other, because he never had that time. And like I said, I even said that like last year, is the fact that one of the knocks against him is the fact he's having difficulty reading certain defenses. If you have somebody blitzing, you have somebody who's actually peeling off, whatever the case is, you should have actually seen in the film, okay, this is that particular, okay, so he's going to do this or he's going to do this. And at this point, although he should, at this point, he doesn't necessarily see that as quickly as I think he should. And that point, you're right. But I think the offensive line had a major thing to do with that, just simply because you don't have the time.
Right. Christopher Cole, that was my point exactly. You say the Bucs need to contain Justin Fields, and that's 100%. They need to contain Justin Fields. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has to play with controlled aggression. He has one speed. He's go. 9 times out of 10, he overruns the play, allows the alley for the quarterback, running back, fullback, tight end, wide receiver, whoever has the damn ball to step up and make a play. If Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, he looks like the goddamn Incredible Hulk. His physique is incredible. If he could put 1 and 1 together and make 2, he'd be a hell of a ball player. But until he can figure out how to slow down and not over pursue the ball, they're going to have issues with running quarterbacks going out that side. So that's one of my key players to watch. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, like I said, needs to play with controlled aggression. Justin Fields can carve him up.
Do you see Baker Mayfield getting happy feet if he gets hit?
You know what? I think all quarterbacks get happy feet when they get hit.
Yeah, but some are more effective than others.
Well, yeah, but Baker Mayfield is the type of quarterback that he's going to stand in there until he can't. You know what I mean? Until the hits start wearing on him, and then you're going to see him rolling out. And I think that's when he's the most dangerous, to be honest, is because he can throw on the run well. Justin Fields is another quarterback that can throw on the run well, and I don't know why the Bears don't play that style of offense. Let him roll. Let him throw. You know what I mean? Give him the option. Run an RPO with just your quarterback.
Yeah, and see, that was the thing with this offense. This offensive scheme was, I think he was supposed to be something that was going to allow Justin Fields to actually play to his strengths. And if you can do that, similar to when he was at that one school, and I don't even remember what school it was. Anyway, no,
what?
No,
all right,
Georgia. If by chance you can play with strengths, obviously you're going to do a couple of things. You're going to make him more comfortable. Now he thinks maybe it's like playground football, and he sees a receiver streaking down the, and he's going to chuck it down there.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where if you actually can play to your players' strengths, it's going to be a major, major uptick for your team.
Right. No, 100%. My last player to watch was Ryan McCollum for the Bucs. Like I said, he's in for the injured Carlton Davis. He'll probably they're not going to shadow anybody. You're not going to see the Bucs run with, they're not going to put Jamal Dean only on DJ Moore. So Zion McCollum's going to have to cover the Bears' only receiver at some point in the game. He's got to be serviceable. He doesn't have to win 90% of the snaps. He doesn't have to win 60% or 70% of the snaps. I'd be happy with the D. If he can win 60% of his snaps at the corner position, I think you win as a Bucs fan. So there are other games this week, I heard. I'm not sure, but I heard there were. So we can go into a little bit of them. We don't have to cover much of them because, like I said, they're not here, so whatever.
Actually, it says right here, it says breaking. All other NFL games have been suspended for the day.
Yeah, but I had a really catchy tagline for the Jets game.
All right, let's do it.
All right, here's my tagline. We don't even have to cover the game. I just want to get this out there because, I don't have brilliant moments very often, so I like to show off when I do.
That's for sure.
Can the Cowboys defense be the Jets' Achilles heel? Come on. That was pretty good.
So the thing you were talking about in chat and stuff like that, I got this incredible all week. You were holding it down.
You're so full of it.
That was the end result.
No, but seriously, do you think the Jets have a chance against the Cowboys?
Well, it's a better chance than maybe the Little Giants, for example, even with the annexation of Puerto Rico. But Zach Wilson, oddly enough, was doing some things last week. I don't know if it was just because Ron was talking in his ear, but if you're also talking about Ron, he's going to be back in like a couple of hours or something, the way he's with his new type of surgery and all this other stuff. So
yeah, those mushrooms are magical. But,
we'll see how it goes. But these shoes are magical.
Yeah. So then you got the Giants going to face that team that used to be an NFL team in Arizona. I don't think that's anything to really talk about. Let's see, what else do we have going on? The Niners play the Rams. That should be another game that the Niners just go into LA and win. I don't know why the Rams can't play the Niners, but they never seem to beat them. So, I mean, there's that game.
Sure. Well, one major point to that particular game. So you got naturally the 49ers are coming off of an okay win last week.
Yeah, they did all right.
And so you have the Rams who are coming in, and granted their game last week wasn't necessarily where they would like it to have been, but that's cool. But at the end of the day, when all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, the period at the end of the sentence, who cares?
I hate you so much sometimes. The Lions, your division leading Lions, hosting a game today.
Remember, I told you last year. I told all you jerks last year. Detroit's going to be a problem.
We thought they were going to be a problem last year. We were a year off. I really think this year they win the division.
Detroit's getting to be that problem.
Yeah.
So you might have one or two off games, but I think that's going to be a bit of a problem that the Bears are going to have to beat in order to be able to be division champs and then go out to the Super Bowl for a victory there too.
Yeah. So they're hosting Seattle.
Who?
Seattle. That's going to be a solid game.
Never heard of them.
I think when you look at those teams, they're pretty evenly matched. It's going to come to a defensive game. I think Detroit wins that one too. The Saints play somebody, the Carolina Panthers. I'm really hoping Carolina pulls a huge upset that week because I cannot stand the Saints. But no, I don't see that happening either. Yeah, I think that's it. The Commanders play the Broncos. Yeah, nothing really. So let's get back into this Bears talk. Bears Bucs. We did our job. We covered the other teams. Oh yeah, the Packers had a tagline for the Packers as well. Can they keep the cheese wheel rolling?
Oh, dear God, please no. Where's the mute button on this thing?
Right? But anyway, we do have a couple other things we got to get to. So why don't we just go into pick six? I mean, Andy, you got your pick six in again No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
You got those for me this week?
Sure. In a few seconds, I will.
All right. We'll play the long intro. That was like 4 minutes long. You should have had enough time to get your pick six in. But,
absolutely. So I'm picking Eagle.
But before we get into that, I just want you to know you had a great week last week. 2-4.
Really? I had two?
So yeah, you're at 2-4 last week. Last week you picked the Bears, Bengals, Vikings, and Colts. They all lost. You got it right with the Niners and the Skins.
So I'm picking the Eagles over the Vikings.
Eagles over the Vikes.
Yeah, the same game that was actually played on Thursday.
I know I already have them as my team to win since I put it in Wednesday. Like we're supposed to.
Oh, I didn't realize that I didn't see it in my picture. So I'm picking the Lions over the Seahawks because it's going to be in Detroit. We got, of course, I got to go with the Bears over the Bucs, even though it's a road game.
Still only a 3-point game.
Well, Chiefs over the Jaguars. Here's what gets interesting. I'm picking the Bills over the Raiders because the Bills, of course,
Yeah, Bills need a bounce back.
Gabe Davis. Got to pick the 49ers over the Rams because the Rams.
One more, man.
I'm thinking. I was going to pick the Jets over the Cowboys, but I don't know if I don't think it would be that.
You're thinking about my tagline. You're thinking, will that defense be the Achilles heel?
Oh, well, they'll just keep rolling that piece of cheese down the Achilles tendon.
No, I said, will that cheese wheel keep rolling, bro?
It doesn't matter. They both are horrible.
Comedy gold.
Indeed. So because of the fact that, being a union guy, I'm sure, you understand the fact that NAFTA and SAG and all that stuff, they're still, so that must be why the writers weren't able to get to your jokes.
Yeah. Come on. One more.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cowboys over the Jets suck.
All right. So your picks, we have Lions, Bears, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Boys.
Who? Yeah, what the heck?
Yep. All right. So we'll give Stout's picks. He's got the Cowboys and nobody else. Stout's at work this week. He gets the Cowboys because, that's his team. All right. And third, tied for second, I guess we'll say, because everyone else didn't do as well as me. Brian has the Lions, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Giants, and the Fins. Jerry has the Chiefs, Bills, Saints, Niners, Giants, Dolphins. And then we get to
it just keeps getting worse.
I had one last week. I've got Philly because I put it in time. Bills, Cowboys, Niners, Saints, and Dolphins. I don't know if you saw week 1, but I won. I don't know if you saw that. We'll do this one more time so you can see it. Believe how long I had to train said to learn how to bark like that.
You might as well just, DOUG.
Top Doug.
Top Doug.
You know what? It's like I said, first time I've been in the lead. It's true.
I think we should probably implement something. So if you just happen to be a fan of a particular team, we'll just take like the Bucs, for example. That's a team that you pick every week.
I never pick the Bucs.
I know. And there's a reason for that, because they suck. But anyway, I think there should be, the one either advantage or disadvantage that each one of us should have every week. And then, of course, you have to make it up with that last 5. I think it'd just be a little bit better. That shows true confidence in your team. Whether you want to or not. I just think it'll be better gooder.
Better gooder? We'll put that before the committee.
Well, ask one of the other guys around.
What's that?
That's one of the other guys around.
Right on. Any closing thoughts for us today?
Yes.
All right then. So this week, last week, every week we are partnered with Let's Talk Sports Network. You can catch them on YouTube as well. Our show is played after today. Our show is live on YouTube right now. After today, you can find it on our YouTube channel as well as the Let's Talk Sports. Let's Talk Sports is on your Fire Stick, Amazon, among other locations.
The Crüe NFC Round Table is proud to partner with the Let's Talk Sports Network, available on YouTube, Roku, and Amazon.
We have someone joining us. Should we bring them on or just end the show?
Depends on who it is.
That's Jerry. We'll give him
Sure,
3 seconds.
Bring them on and then end the show.
I just wanted to say that we're not going to accept that, Andy. You literally just bet against the Bears, but you're saying everybody needs to pick their own team.
I didn't bet against the Bears. I said the Bears over the Bucs.
You just picked the Bucs.
No,
we
I didn't.
didn't.
I swear you said that you picked the Bucs.
Andy's picks are Lions, Bears, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys.
Pass the Dutchy San Francisco because no, I wouldn't pick that, especially the Bucs.
So you're
Jerry,
never
you
going
are
to be
the
able to go
weakest link.
6-0 with your pick.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
That was actually kind of funny for the first time.
All right, man. Well, Brian gave us some picks. I don't want to use the Packer music, so I'll just give you Brian's best bets or making money with the Packer back, wherever you want to do it. He's got the Bears +3, so you're taking the 3 with the Bears. Chargers, you're going to give the 3. The Niners, you're going to take the 9.5, and you're going to play the under for the Bears-Steelers game. But other than that, I've got nothing for you.
So I think you've actually. I'm trying to interrupt. I think you actually missed an incredible opportunity because we were talking about Wizzo and things like that. So I just think that if you're looking in the future to possibly win, these bets and stuff like that, you should be taking that from the Chiefs wins.
Oh my God! And that is it.